Well, and David, I want to ask you about schools because, of course, there's been so much debate around schools and what mitigation tactics should be used. But what have you found in your research about how the virus spread in schools?
Well, I think that if we're never going to be able to fully prevent all pandemics, and so leveling with people and saying that nature is uncontrollable, saying that you're going to prevent pandemics is like saying you're going to prevent hurricanes. It's just simply not going to happen. What you can do is you can mitigate the impact of them, just like better building codes can mitigate the impact of hurricanes. Better response plans, better early surveillance systems can mitigate the impact of pandemics that we have in the future. And one that we're going to have to really think hard about is how to avoid the educational disruption that occurred in 2020 and 2021 across much of the United States and other parts of the world, where we simply were not equipped to provide the sort of support to schools that was necessary to both allow schools to be held safely and to recognize the roles that schools will play in the spread of virus into the broader community. And so we've been very involved in trying to bring point of care antigen testing into schools. And so we developed flowcharts in collaboration with Kat and her team in our local public health department on how those tests should be used nearly about a year ago now. And we continue to work really closely with schools to figure out how they can try to weather the storm, how they can prepare for the winter here in the northern US, where we're going to have snow and cold and people are going to be inside. We may have a winter where we have the complexities of COVID and influenza, all both causing school absences. And so figuring out how schools can best respond to that is going to be important. And I think this is a place where early surveillance systems could be focused, where if you basically take schools as a sentinel site that is broadly representative of the communities in which they're located, you can learn a lot about how and where viruses are spreading in your communities. And I would argue that if we had that back at the beginning of 2020, we would have had a lot better visibility into the early spread of COVID, even though school-age children themselves did not get sick. We could have learned a lot about the virus if we had focused our attention on how it was spreading within and among schools and the communities where they're located.